Order! Order! Now this session of court will come to order. It has been brought to my attention you have been brought in front of this court of law, accused of the most heinous crimes against... What? That's happening later? So what is this now? Oh, I see. It's an auction. Oh, fair enough. Alright, excellent. So you may have noticed over the last few months that we at Cask 88 have quite a few strings to our bow. Now last year, in 2019, we launched the first of our online cask auctions for Scotch whisky, which also happened to be the world's first online cask auctions for Scotch whisky. We've since had 3 successful auctions, with exciting casks changing hands in furious rounds of bidding. And now we're about to begin our 4th online auction, tomorrow on October the 9th. Now it's always been sadly impossible for us to get enough samples of the prospective cask lots to get out to everyone who may be interested in buying. So what we've always done instead is take the samples that we do have and forcibly feed them to our reluctant panel of tasters in the Cask 88 office, allowing them to give their thoughts, musings and tasting notes to really inform prospective buyers. Well, now that we have this YouTube platform as well, we'd like to make these tastings just a little more lively, really give you an idea of how it feels to taste the whiskey in the moment. So, if you keep watching over the next 6 videos, you'll see our panel of experts of Cask 88 scattered around Zoom, giving their expert opinions on the whiskey casks and their contents that you could be bidding on in this coming auction. Now, keeping a loose veneer of control over proceedings, I'd like to introduce the mighty M.
Miriam Roon. Good afternoon, Miriam.
Good afternoon, Sam.
Now, you have your samples. You're ready for the arduous task of tasting them and giving your opinions?
It really is a hard old life here at Cask 88, that's for sure.
Well, we've spread the burden a little. You've got some people to help you. Now, this is going to have to be a Zoom tasting since, COVID and everything. We don't want to get everyone into the same Edinburgh office right now, but it's going to be almost as good as going to the pub together.
It certainly will make a change from my Friday afternoons lockdown drinking on my own.
Well, it's going to be without me on this occasion. I got a WhatsApp message from my liver asking me to sit this one out. So let me hand over to you and the team and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much. So I'll introduce you all to our very seasoned team of whiskey tasters. First up, we've got Se-Young Kang, who is executive assistant at our Edinburgh office, otherwise known as Mila. She has a nose like a bloodhound, so you better watch out for her. And next up, we've got Struan Logan, who's one of our sales managers, and he's literally sitting in our whiskey library in our Edinburgh office. And I'm so jealous.
Thanks very much. And I am sitting in here totally to try and snatch whiskey, not because the internet's down in my flat.
We also have Kat Mori, who is the lovely face behind our social media account. Hey, Kat.
Hello. I don't have a funny side. I'll just say hello.
And the latest addition to the Cask 88 team, our sales manager, Carl Johnston, and he has already told us that he is very much up for the challenge of any of your whiskey-related questions, so please do throw them at him.
Hi, everyone.
And last but not least is Ryan McCafferty, who is purchasing and operations manager in our Edinburgh office, and he has got a lot of experience in doing whiskey panels, so this is why he is the man for the job. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, nice to meet everyone. Okay, guys, so we are going to do a tasting panel based on quite similar to how I've done them in the past. We're going to taste the samples of these casks, 6 in total, completely blind. So we're not going to know the distillery or the age or anything like that, and so we'll be really writing the notes and taking the aromas purely from our own noses and our own experiences, and not influenced by anything else. The way I like to do tasting panels is to nose the whiskey first neat, kind of quietly write down the different flavours and aromas you're getting individually, and then open up to the floor, discuss and see whether some agreement, etc. And normally a big discussion ends up flowing, and it's not unusual to go a wee bit off at tangent. Similar taste with neat, again, taking up those flavours, and then repeat the process with a wee drop of water to see how the whisky changes with the addition of water. So obviously these are cask samples, and so cask strength, so a lot stronger than majority of whiskies that you see in the marketplace that have been reduced down to 40% on bottling. Okay guys, so if you take your first whiskey, number 1, and pour it into a nice whiskey carrying vessel.
It's got a bit of a rose gold tint to it, I think.
Yeah, obviously we don't know, but it kind of does suggest a potential maturation in some sort of sherry or wine cask.
I think it still has a bit pinkish color than what we can see on the screen. Screen tends to be more like dark orange.
Yeah, I was almost going to say blood orange kind of came into my head, obviously not when it's cut open.
Yeah,
you know, but,
I'd agree with that.
it's kind of got that kind of orangey, pinky tinge to it. Mila, would you like to get the ball rolling? What did you get?
So things I got was a bit like rose petal, a hint of grassy note, and grapefruit peel, not like the fruit itself, but around it. White grape and sour cherry jam.
I thought it was maybe a bit like spicier than that. I got a slightly kind of all spicy note. Just there, like chocolate. I thought it was kind of musty, but there was a sharpness, and I couldn't work out what the sharpness was. So I've written tomato ketchup. I'm not sure what it is.
I mean, I think, and I never got it myself, I think grapefruit's probably a good shout there. I know it's grapefruit peel you mentioned, but it's kind of got that sharp kind of sharpness like that you get from grapefruit.
I don't know if this is very work safe, but my first impression was this is floral as fuck. Like, in all honesty, I'm deadly serious about this. Like, as in, it just smells such a nice aroma variety of smells in there. It was like kind of when you go into a greenhouse and there's just this absolute variety of smells of flowers in there. Like on the lighter fruity side, more like peach and pear, but like an intense amount of it, which was good. So it was like, it wasn't heavy. It definitely wasn't like too much of anything, but it was just a real hit to your nose, essentially.
Sad.
Yeah, like that Christmas cake analogy comes to mind, but it's not a full Christmas cake because it's not so cakey. It's kind of like the fruit before it's been put into the cake.
Yeah, so syrup, like almost a syrup from a potential tin fruit or something.
Yeah.
So
This
like
is
a
lovely
young
warming.
cask, but I think it has a really great potential. That the flavors are already quite round, not so sharp down, considering it's a young cask.
To me, I got burnt orange again, very initially, and I was thinking maybe it was that kind of marmalade on burnt toast potentially, so it was that kind of sweetness, but that kind of something singed a wee bit, I guess. And then I thought it got a lot sweeter and fruitier after that initial note, or towards the end, sorry. But in between that, I got spices, cloves, cardamom I put down, pepper as well. So similar to yourself, Carl. So yeah, I think it's a cracking whiskey already. Right, so now we'll move on to adding a wee bit of water now, and seeing how this whiskey opens up. Wow, that's some nose, I think, in my opinion.
Initially, I definitely feel like it's mellowed. That youthfulness that I got the first time around, that seems to be disappeared. I'm almost getting, the fruit's obviously still there, but they have mellowed out, definitely. Those sort of singy notes that you talked about with the burnt toast and things, they seem to have become sweeter opposed to sharp.
You know when you get an old fashioned in a cocktail bar, and then you've got the little orange rind, they put it on there, they then burn the orange, and then they present that to you first. That's what it smelled like.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting way more orange now that the water's in there. And just a little bit of smoke as well. So what Stuart says about the burnt oranges really, really comes through. And I'm just thinking with the cloves and the burnt orange and the little bit of smoke, it makes me think of those oranges that you stuff with cloves at Christmas time.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
nice.
that's what I thought of. I put, yeah, that's what I kind of thought of, like cloves with orange. Like sometimes I make my own mulled wine from a recipe online, and it's stuffed orange with cloves, and you're putting the cinnamon in, and you're putting all that in, and just that kind of really Christmassy kind of sweetness.
We all clearly just want Christmas to come. Or I do anyway.
Right, we will taste with water now.
I pick up the really weird but yummy note and palate, which
What does,
a bit of pizza crust with a bit of tomato puree left. All the crust, and then there's a bit of tomato sauce left. And when I have a bite of it, I kind of felt that at the end. And but at the end, it kind of finishes peachy, fruity note. So it was weird but yummy experience.
At risk of sounding like it's all about what it looks like in the bottle, it does look incredible. It's such a beautiful color, like a nice rich pink color. Looks gorgeous in the sunlight, and the whiskey's really yummy. It's nice, easy drinking, Christmassy kind of whiskey.
So we're thinking for the color.
It's a kind of yellow gold.
Yellow gold.
Yeah, distinctively different from the last one. There's none of that pink or orange. It's more almost a tint of green. Well, that might just be the field out the window. I'm not sure.
I think it's safe to bet this one's a bourbon if the last one was a sherry or wine cask.
Oh, that's nice.
Miriam's a fan of the smell on her face.
Yeah, I do really like the smell. I like it when you get a distinctive note that hits you straight off, and something has definitely hit me in the nose with that one. I'm sure it is the ex-bourbon American oak barrel because I'm getting the coconut, a bit of vanilla. Yeah,
I'd agree. There's a nutty sensation there. It's almost, I got almond cake or something a little bit softer, but yeah, almost like milky coffee as well. Almost, it's like I'm having coffee and cake.
Herber note as well, like a thyme, rosemary, but it's not. Really
I'm really glad you said that, Mila, because I was like, there is something savory under there. I thought it was like a sort of linseed, oily waxiness, but I think you're right about the herby notes.
It's like the wax on motion. You did there, Kat.
I'm very
I've been watching Cobra Kai on Netflix.
Cool. Well, go ahead and start tasting, guys.
Yay!
I'm continuing with the biscuity coffee vibe. I think I said almonds at the start, but there is a bit of spice there, so I'm thinking more along the lines of gingerbread, that sort of realm.
Biscotti biscuit. I'm not tasting this. I'm just asking. But like biscotti biscuits is kind of that you have with coffee sometimes.
Oh, those little Biscoff biscuits.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, though.
Yeah, it really surprised me. I thought from the nose, I thought it was going to be quite a young whiskey, but then on the palate, it was just so very like rich and oily, which I think is like helping develop all of these analogies that we've got. Like the kind of creaminess of the pina colada and the cream and the flan, the creamy custard. It's lovely because it just carries all of those fruity and like biscuity notes along, like it is a dessert. It's quite yummy. And then, a bit of a savoury undertone, like somebody's put a little bit of salt in there to spice it up a bit.
Okay, add water, guys. And nose of water.
I might just be now down the rabbit hole, but I'm definitely keeping with that cafe vibe that I was kind of talking about, but even more so, where it now just smells even stronger of rich, like amaretti or Garibaldi biscuits or something that's just got a nice tang to it at the end.
That's very mellow.
Weirdly, I'm getting more savory flavors like salty caramel chocolate. So a bit of flavory and sweetness.
Yeah, I definitely agreed on that. Like it definitely has It's now accentuated what it was at cask strength, where it's like really sweet on the nose, like as kind of talking about those biscuit tones and everything. But then afterwards, that savouriness at the end, now is more like a lip smack and like type attitude on it.
Yeah, this is a tough day at work. It'd be nice to come home to, unlike the last one. So I think a good all rounder, very easy drinking.
Number 3. What colour are we saying? Quite pale. Pale.
Definitely.
Pale yellow.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's a pale gold for me.
Right, if you haven't already, that nose in. Initially, I got a kind of like like a highly freshly varnished table. It's kind of had that kind of
Yeah, I put linseed oil.
initial note for me, and then I got some of the fruitiness of like white currant. So you know, like you get these wee currant berries and trees. My father-in-law had them one year. Just kind of made me think of that. So it's a bit of sweetness, but a bit floral as well.
I think I got like peach or apricot or one of those fruits that has a very like furry, like the skin of a peach.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of gentle and like a little bit like furry.
Strong fuzzy vibes.
Fuzzy vibes. And kind of a grassiness as well to it.
Cat.
Yeah, I put linseed oil, so similar to your varnished table. And then I also put lime and salt. Just give me like margarita vibes, which is unlike everyone else. Maybe it's just me.
We'll go on to taste.
I had thought initially it had something of the Glenfinchies about it, something a little bit worm tubby, a little bit like sulphury cabbage note.
Yeah, like a root vegetable, like a carrot almost. Carrots are quite sweet. They've got that earthy flavour. Yeah.
like parsnip maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit of a dark horse really, this one. Because the nose is so subtle, it like brings you in and then you don't expect much from the palate, but it's very surprising and very, very complex.
Stuart, what did you?
I'd more gone for the spicier side of it, the savoury side of the whiskey.
Let's add some water then, guys.
I got white pepper. I thought it was still kind of like spicy. And then it took me a while. I worked out that it's like, you get like a posh loaf, maybe from like Waitrose, with like things in it. I think it's like a chili jam or like a sweet chili loaf.
I think I know what you mean. It's like a sourdough loaf kind of thing. Yeah, definitely. I was searching for it because I had that linseed as like a hinge to it, and then I was thinking, wait, like it's opened up now, but I don't know where I go from here. But
I mean, initially I was the linseed oil again kind of just hit, and then obviously kind of got chatting on that, and then I was kind of going back to it, and I noticed there was much more fruitier notes were coming through, but kind of like green apple, kind of not like juicy fruits if you like. It's more kind of almost green fruits, and a bit floral as well, maybe heather.
Yeah, they said this one is the one with the least change when it comes to the water being added to it, and I added like a good amount to it because it was really boozy at the start. It's still the similar notes, but on like kind of a more manageable palate where it's like, bit of licorice but not too intense, aniseed, and more floral in general.
Right, let's taste with water now.
I like getting those very classic Highland sort of notes, like similar to what we said was on the nose, like your heather and your honey, very like soft and gentle.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very sweet now. Like, it's really moreish is the big difference between now and before. But it's still got that nice, like, oily viscosity at the same time, and not as long a finish. So it just feels like, as you say, with it being with a classic Highland note, it's just very easy drinking.
I had put heather honey as well, but I still have a bready start.
Whereas this is more earthy and grassy and floral.
It's not necessarily for me, but I know it will make somebody very happy.
Right, so moving on to whiskey number 4.
I thought the colour was similarly pale gold.
Yep, we have another pale gold. Does it have much in the way of legs? It's hard for me to tell with my tumbler.
Compared to the last two, this has got very slim legs.
It just disappears.
Yeah, it doesn't stick around at all.
Have we got anyone's initial thoughts on the nose?
It's quite citric, like lemon and lime, and also grassy.
I would agree with that. I also thought there was a kind of like powdered sugar sweetness to it.
And a rhubarb puree.
Yeah, like an artificial sweetness, isn't there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A bit like icing sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Tasting of a cake, yeah.
You know that part where you have a bag of icing sugar and you hit the sides of it and then the sugar bursts out? It's like that part.
That is what it's like.
It's like where you just put your head in a cloud of sugar.
Okay, let's taste it, guys.
Yeah. It has changed with the taste. I'm starting to get those rubbery, leathery tastes almost. It's oily. I'm thinking of like a mechanical workshop, to be honest.
I still have some of those artificial notes, but the strawberry is really stuck in my brain, and I think it tastes a bit like a sort of like a shop bought Victoria sponge, like jam, but like strawberry jam and then the powdered sugar, but everything a little bit artificial.
Yeah, I'm getting that the oil as well. But yeah, it does taste like a workshop-y.
Yeah.
It's interesting, very interesting.
That's fine.
I keep thinking of gummy fruits, like, like those big strawberries that you kind of get in like a Haribo pack. Like it almost feels like it's an Irish whiskey, where it's like really sweet and light, essentially, and meant to be drunk as quick as possible.
I know what this is, so you saying that it's an Irish whiskey, there is a connection. There's like a weirdness on the tongue. There's like a very interesting afterfeel.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what it is. I can't explain it.
It's really nutty after all those flora and a bit of like strawberry flavors are gone. And really bottom line, there's a bit of like roasted barley.
I think my analogy of mechanical, people are probably thinking that's quite negative, but it's the oiliness, the richness to it. The tannins are definitely coming through on that one.
That's as light as air now.
Mm-hmm.
Very light.
So with water, I think you're right, Miriam. It is really, really light, sort of like almost like white grapey. But then I think the finish is still kind of warm and biscuity. It brings it back at the end.
It's very, very light, but it's still very, very smooth. Because, there's often, if there's not an overarching flavour in single cask whiskey, sometimes you just get like real spice because you're getting the alcohol burn, but there's not much alcohol burn in there at all. I mean, I know we've put water in it, but it's very, very drinkable now. It's almost like it's a vodka tasting than a whiskey tasting.
It's like sugar cane juice. Have you tried sugar cane juice?
No, that is nice.
It feels like it's by design that it's meant to be as light as possible. It's like some whiskies you can really sort of play this game of picking flavours bit by bit, whereas this was just, it's really sessionable, really easy drinking, but it's not like it's its fault. It's what it's meant to be.
It's like Stern said, it's really very easy to drink and it's a nice finish for me. It's a bit of tropical fruitness at the end. And I quite like it. Probably as dessert whiskey dram.
Very nice.
What's
Number 5.
No, number 5.
What are we saying for colour for this one?
I think it's another pale gold, hey?
Definitely pale gold.
I don't think it's as pale as the second one, but
No, it's definitely more body to this one.
No, I'd said the second one was definitely darker than this, like definitely more of a tinge of gold.
Disagreement in the room.
I love the smell of this one already.
Yeah, I just took a sneaky nose there. I wasn't even thinking.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, let's go ahead and nose this. That's like that smells tasty.
It's so yeah, it's like sometimes you want to pick apart the notes of it. All I get from this is smells of peaches, but it's like you're on a nice summer's day, you're in an orchard, someone's picked one off a tree and said, "Smell that." It's just delicious smelling.
To me, I went down the kind of more sweet kind of like sweeties kind of route, like like those wee candy necklaces that you get and you bite them up, like wine gums, the bonbons, kind of like that. Again, with the candy necklace, kind of almost like the sweets that you get a bit of dusting on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I'm getting midget gems, sports mixture, that sort of vibe.
Yeah, that's basically all I'm getting. Just very sweet and tasty.
This may be because I really like them, but I was getting the Parma Violets as the sweetie.
I like how everyone kind of went, name your favourite sweet thing.
Yeah, I feel like everyone
And then
did.
it came up as everything.
I also wrote, like, you've just opened a jar of heather honey and it's, like, hitting you.
I mean, I just on it straight away, just got bonbons. Let's put all flavours, like all the different colour ones, just lovely jelly babies, heather honey. Oh, it's just lovely.
Like your starburst.
Yeah.
Essentially, it makes you think of what do you feel nostalgic for, sweetie wise, and then name that.
It's so sweet. Sorry, Kat, go on.
Oh, that's okay. I did think there was like something more substantial holding it all together. I was like, there is something that isn't sweet under this, and I decided that when I drank a bit of water, it was like toast. So it was like all of these things on toast, like heather on toast.
Buttered toast, if it goes with Mila's buttery note.
Yeah, buttered toast covered in bonbons and opal fruits.
It does feel like it spent a long time in like an ex-bourbon cask. And I mean, maybe even like a virgin or American oak cask, or like one that hasn't been used very many times because it's got so many sweet, fruity, vanilla flavors, right? I
would say the opposite, because if it was virgin oak or first fill, then you'd get a bit more spicy notes coming through, I would say.
Okay.
So I would argue that it's probably a long time in a second or third fill. And it's quite
I think maybe even refill. The color is pretty light for long maturation in first fill. So could be long maturation in second or refill cask.
Because I don't think you get that many whiskies that have spent such a long time in like a third or a second fill American oak. It seems very special.
No, I think the sweetness, the fact that you can't really taste the alcohol at all. I mean, it's just a very, very pleasant dram. I'm struggling to pick a fault with it currently.
Yeah, because this is cask strength.
Yeah, I've got sweet tooth, so it's probably playing to what I'm looking for. But yeah, very good dram.
Cool. Well, let's start a wee drop of water, everyone.
Just based on what we've said so far about maybe it having had spent a long time in refill bourbon, that's probably quite unusual. Maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think that, after a while, people maybe think, oh, well, maybe I'll switch my whiskey into a sherry cask instead to get a sherry finish on it. Because sherry is so popular.
Sometimes you would. It depends, I suppose. Yeah, maybe people like to finish for the last couple of years in a certain type of cask just to give it a wee second maturation, that finish. I would say you'd get longer in a refill in general. So, for example, if this was a first fill, you'd rarely get a first fill bourbon cask that are like 15 plus, 20 plus years, because you're getting more flavour from the wood. It just becomes too powerful. It's very similar. That's why you don't see a 21-year-old bourbon or 25-year-old bourbon. There's a few which are probably located in quite low climate areas, so the maturation's a wee bit slower. But in general, you don't see a really high aged bourbon because it would just be too powerful. It would be too over intense, too woody.
You know how there's a tasting note that's caramel, and then there's different kind of types of caramel, and one of them is called like butter something.
Butterscotch?
Butterscotch.
How appropriate.
Oh yeah.
I wonder where it got its name from. Butterscotch. Interesting.
Yeah, also a bit burnt caramel, Cass said.
Were there originals? That's what I'm putting in.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Right on the head.
Can we not just not include this cask in the auction and just bottle it instead?
Just
Yeah.
keep it for ourselves.
That's always an option.
There we go. Number 6. Always same for colour. Same again. Pale gold.
Yeah.
Pale gold.
Maybe we could call it antique gold this time to mix things up.
Antique gold.
Antique gold, hey?
This is the first time I've picked up on any sort of smoky, peaty notes.
And
I thought it was quite malty.
it is. I think it also have like a new make, really sharp floral notes.
Yeah, this definitely feels like young whiskey.
Yeah.
I got like fresh kind of sea spray. It's almost like if you're walking on a beach. And
Yeah, I got that as well.
kind of whisper of smoke. So like maybe like a burnt out kind of wooden fire that's been on the beach, but it was like lit like the night before or something, and it's kind of just all kind of cindered down, but just that wee hint in the air of something, a fire from the night before.
I think we're approaching Isla territory.
Oh, I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was to hazard a guess, I'd agree. It's very light, but
It's light. It's not like heavily
something
peated
that-
like a hard bag or flag or anything. Smoked bacon, you know.
Oh, maybe. It's got like a kind of like musty hay smell under there.
Right, well we taste
yeah,
it.
I love this rim. It's so good. Tastes like banana muffin and raisin, dried raisin. And the really mild smoke is nicely laid out from start to finish.
For me, this might be one of the most subtle smoky whiskies I've ever had.
It's like when you get seafood and you just sprinkle the lemon on the top of it.
Right, add a wee bit of water.
Yeah.
Is anyone else getting I've still got the wet hay, but I'm also getting a sort of salty chocolate. There's definitely, I think for me it's more sweet in it.
Yeah, the first thing I put was sweet tobacco. So just a slight smoke with sweetness coming through. Still got kind of lemon on kind of fresh cooked seafood, sea spray. Overall much sweeter, yeah. Taste the water now.
Love it. It's like creamy pasta with mussels. Don't know.
Mussels.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
no, I
Curfew
think
of 10
this
p.m.
for me has definitely moved on from smoke to the saltiness. I think Ryan's original comment of the smoke at the beach, that sums it up for me, the whole journey.
Yeah. I also get a lot of bitterness after adding water and like cocktail ingredients, maybe like celery bitter.
Yeah, I'm getting those kind of citrusy notes opening out, like kind of lemon, I think, but not quite as sharp as I'm expecting. Lemon and grapefruit and kind of sour. But then also kind of like a nice long creamy mouthfeel. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Just now thinking of like a fish with a lemon in its mouth.
Cullen skink.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cullen skink in a whiskey.
Yeah.
Don't want anyone thinking this smells like haddock or anything.
yeah. Cullen skink.
It's got that nice creaminess to it. It's got, I got fruitier flavours coming through as well. Juicier fruits initially in the taste with water.
As in maybe it would go quite well with fish.
Oh yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
for sure. That'll be an excellent pairing, I think.
I think it's still really young whiskey, so I think this has heaps of potential.
I think it's nice as it is.
Yeah, I just get a feeling it's young whiskey. I could be wrong on this. We'll find out at the end.
I was going to say this one is right up my alley. Even though it's clearly quite young, but I like what I'm tasting, and I think it has great potential.
Aye. So do you want to do the big reveals for what we've had?
So the first one that we had was, the Ben Riach, 6 years, distilled December 2013. It was, the cask type is a first fill Chateau Lafite Barrique.
Oh, lovely.
So whoever said red wine is absolutely right there.
Was it Relax? Was it always in the Chateau Lafite?
Oh, that's a good question. It's only 6 years old, so...
I think it may have... Well, I was going to say it might only have been in that because the colour was pretty substantial.
Yeah, it doesn't have any hint of being matured in a bourbon. Like, there's no yellow and then it's been topped up to that colour. I mean, it seems kind of purely that colour.
Yeah, so maybe the whole time in that Chateau Lafite Barrique. And no, this wasn't peated, even though I got a touch of smoke there in my tasting notes. And the ABV was 61%, so quite high. Sample number 2, which we noted as being pretty like oily, like very desserty, rich. That was a Glengarry, 11 years. It was distilled in February 2009, and the cask type was an ex-bourbon barrel. So that explains all of our like desserty flavors. And that wasn't peated, and the ABV on that was 60.6%, so almost identical to the Ben Riach. Sample number 3, which we all said was a very classic Highland whiskey with its heather notes and its honey, etc., etc., was a Blair Athol 11-year. It was distilled on the 1st of April, 2009, and was distilled in an ex-bourbon hogshead. And that one was a little bit higher as an ABV of 65.48%.
Jeez.
I know.
That makes sense of how it was so strong.
Yeah.
It does.
Sample number 4, which we all said was incredibly light. And I remember Struan, I think it was, talking about how it reminded him of Irish whiskey. It's actually an Auchentoshan 12-year.
Oh.
Triple distilled, which, that kind of explains the lightness. So that was distilled in October 2007 and was matured in an ex-bourbon hogshead. No surprises there, really. Not peated, and an ABV of 55.9%. So that's the lowest ABV we've had all evening. And then sample number 5 that everybody loved and was like having a sweet shop in your mouth was a Dalyun.
Oh, of course it was.
18 years old.
18 years old. Nice.
Yeah, you can tell.
That age then, yeah.
You can tell it's
18 years old. And that was distilled in August 2002. It's a refill hogshead, not peated, 58.8% ABV.
Dalyun is worth the hype then.
Sample number 6 was a Bunnahabhain 7.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
Didn't expect that.
Were you expecting it to be older?
As it the last couple of years.
And that one was distilled in April 2013, and an unusual cask type as well. I was expecting people to maybe take a guess at this. It's a first fill Pinot Blanc Barrique.
Oh,
Really?
wow.
No, I did not get
White
that.
wine.
White wine?
Interesting.
Wow.
It was lightly
I
peated.
thought I would have got some more floral notes from that.
I guess that explains why the smoke played such a little part in it, because there were so many other flavours going on.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that was also like the most peated one of all of them in our tasting session, even though the Caligula that we don't have a sample of right now that's going in the auction is also peated. But it is a very peat light selection this time round. And the ABV on that one was 62.2%.
Oh, wow. I thought it was going to be much higher.
So thanks very much to our fantastic panel. I know it's been a hard afternoon for you guys trying all of those whiskies. So thanks for bearing with us there. And to our audience listening in, please do let us know in the comments if you guessed what whiskies we were tasting before we guessed what we were tasting, and what you thought were your favorites based on the tasting notes that we had. We'd love to hear from you. And so I just wanted to say a good night to everybody. And if you'd like to hear more about the auctions, please head on over to www.auctions.cask88.com, and there you'll find more information about the casks and how to bid on our fantastic auctions that are upcoming. The auction starts on the 9th of October, so please head on over and bid. So thank you so much to my fantastic panel of whiskey tasters.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend. Bye bye.